Finally, this evening, our person of the week. There are younger members of our audience who will not know him. There are middle-aged Americans and older who will recall him as an international celebrity of their youth, which reminded us how long it has been since he did so much to rid the world of a dreadful disease. We choose him this week because he has persevered and is still helping others to find the way.
Immunization normally has been used in individuals who are not yet infected in order to prevent the establishment of infection.
In 1986, it occurred to Dr. Jonas Salk that AIDS researchers were becoming bogged down, trying to find drugs that would cure or prevent AIDS. He began to think about another approach.
It seemed to me when I first proposed this 4 or 5 years ago that we might possibly try to immunize individuals who are already infected before the development of symptoms of disease.
Salk noticed that when a person first becomes infected with the AIDS virus that can ultimately lead to full AIDS, the body fights hard to defend itself. But over time, the body's immune system gives in. Salk began to experiment with a vaccine that would give the immune system a boost and keep the disease in check using the AIDS virus itself.
This was regarded as a strange idea at the time and was not looked upon with any great favor.
He challenged conventional wisdom and he developed a new idea. He had a hunch and he stuck to it.
The announcement this week that another scientific team had taken his idea of inhibiting AIDS from spreading in the body and was testing it with some success has been met with optimism and caution.
It may not necessarily be safe. It may very well be that later on you're going to see negative effect.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, a leading AIDS researcher, is watching the vaccine's test results very closely.
Right now, in June of 1991, we haven't seen efficacy in this study. We've seen some promising, intriguing results that deserve further study.
It's always good when you've carried out, if you propose an hypothesis and have obtained some evidence to seek confirmation independently on the part of others.
Jonas Salk has been in search of results most of his life. He was raised in New York. A high school teacher of his called him a perfectionist. After receiving his MD from New York University in 1939, Salk went directly into medical research at the University of Michigan, where he and his team would discover the vaccine to prevent influenza. By the late 1940s, infantile paralysis, or polio, was regarded as the modern-day plague. Hundreds of thousands of children throughout the world were stricken, confined to crutches and breathing machines. In 1948, Jonas Salk won a grant to do research on a polio vaccine. His results in 1953 were revolutionary, a vaccine produced by a form of the polio virus itself, the same approach he has taken to AIDS. In 1955, medical researchers declared the Salk vaccine safe and effective. Millions of children were made safer. In the scientific community, Jonas Salk has not always been regarded as genius caliber. His original vaccine was very largely replaced by the Sabin vaccine only a few years later. But Salk has always tried to solve problems the unconventional, often unpopular way. And he is philosophical about his approach to the fight against AIDS.
It means that we're not putting all our eggs in one basket. As we know how nature works, it's through diversity. Soon nature will give us the answer.
Jonas Salk is 76 now, not nearly ready to retire. And in the fight against AIDS, he does believe he is on to something.
The end of the road is some time away. We're on a journey, you might say, and we're attempting to find the best way. What this experiment tells us, his findings so far, is that we must go on. Nature has not said no to this path.